Sign up to the SBR Network and use your free daily bet points to earn real-world prizes. Click on the page and start winning now.
Welcome to SBRforum.com. In this video, we're taking a look at Game 2 between the Chicago Blackhawks and the Los Angeles Kings. Now, we saw what happened in Game 1. It was really a continuation of what we've seen over the last couple of years in this series. Obviously, the Blackhawks won all 3 meetings this year. They also won 4 or 5 in the postseason against the Kings last year. And Game 1 of this Western Conference Final was really just more of the same. You know, you take a look at the game, and overall, you probably want to say, hey, this is a pretty tight-knit, close contest, but really, this is just how Chicago beats the Kings. The Kings never allow the Blackhawks and that offense to really pull too far apart, yet the Kings in their own offense really don't look like they're that close in the game, even though we're only talking 1 or 2 goal deficits. That's really how it was. Take a look at the latter stages of the third period, for example. The Blackhawks were only up by 1 until the Jonathan Toews sealer, but really the Kings weren't pressing that much, weren't creating that many opportunities to tie the game. So this is just how Chicago wins, and I think that's what we see in game number 2. Really another 1-goal type of a win. Again, take a look back at the Western Conference Finals last year. A lot of 1-goal wins by Chicago, and I think that's what this series is going to be. It's not going to be blowouts. It's going to be sort of death by 100 paper cuts, or I should say by 4 paper cuts is all the Blackhawks really need. Now, the concern for the Kings, we saw it in game number 1. The trajectory of this series really favors the Blackhawks because the Kings, they're built on defense. The Blackhawks, they're built on offense. But the Kings can't quite slow down that Blackhawks offense. Kings allowed 2.05 goals per game in the regular season. That was the best mark in the NHL. But you take a look at the last, what are we looking at now? 8 or 9 meetings. It would be 9 meetings between the teams. The Blackhawks are averaging 3 goals per game, and they did it again in game number 1. If they can get to 3 goals per game, they're obviously going to win most of the games in this series. It might not be a very long series, I might add. As for the Kings, they're not scoring enough. Again, no points for Anze Kopitar in game number 1, and that's an issue. And I think that's a story that continues in game 2. The Blackhawks have a shutdown pair of defensemen headlined by Duncan Keith, and he's going to be matching up against Kopitar as long as possible. And with Chicago being at home, they get the last change, and they'll be able to get that matchup pretty much whenever they want. So I think that's bad news for the Kings. I think they lose game number 2. You know, there's some juice here involved. Again, my picks for game 1 were under. I believe it was the under, but I know I said Chicago wins and take the puck line is what makes sense. I think under is another good play in game 2. Kings offense really is not going to do that much. I don't think in this series, but particularly when these teams are in Chicago, and I think Chicago is not going to really get more than 3 goals per game. But I think Chicago wins. I would stay away from the puck line in game 2. I think the Kings come with a pretty good effort, but we're going to take a shot with the under. I think it's going to be right around 5 goals in this game. Might even land on 5, 3-2 type of result, but I think under is the best play in this game. Thanks for watching this video right here on SBRforum.com. We got wire-to-wire coverage of the Stanley Cup playoffs, taking you all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals until the champion is announced. We'll have picks, we'll have videos on every single game. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you again soon.